Okay, so I threatened a sequel to the whole Donald Trump or Russian asset Krasnov thing that was ran, and again the the evidence is right now very circumstantial by his actions. Okay, let's just be honest here. There's a whole lot of evidence in his favor, and I thought we would try our hand over here and see what happens, right? And we just got exorcism upgraded, and we'll eat real quick just because, and then we'll start in. But excuse me, I'm getting congested again. I'm so sorry, y'all. But this went actually to Snopes, okay, and there's a Snopes piece that was called "What to Know About the Rumor Trump Was Recruited by KGB in 1987." Okay, and I'm not going to bore you by reading that one. Ah, okay. Now, as you can see, I got a new sword. I'll show you in a minute too. But I will read you the reply because it's like the saga just absolutely utterly continues. Okay. Dear Amelia Clark and Jack Izzo, and if I butcher a name, I am so sorry. Your Snopes piece, What to Know About the Rumor Trump Was Recruited by KGB in 1987. Oops. There we go. Now, it didn't just miss the mark, it created a ripple effect of lazy journalism that's now polluting credible discourse. You see, they're really good with words, I've got to admit. They're good wordsmiths. Thanks to your half-baked reporting, you didn't just mislead France 24 because apparently France 24 actually did pick up this story based on what went on, and there we go. You managed to drag Professor Darren Gertis down with you. And again, if I butcher a name, I apologize. Okay? I just can't help it. And I'm leveling up my sword skill on at-level mobs. I probably shouldn't do this. Now, I go back. What started as a bungled fact check has now snowballed into a perfect example of how bad reporting mutates into accepted truth. Let's break down the mess you made. First, you relied on Danyar Ashimbayev. Again, if I butcher a name, I'm sorry. A pro-Russian historian, historian is in scare quotes, as your key source, without bothering to inform readers that Ashimbayev has a track record of pushing Kremlin-aligned narratives. Kind of like other people, right? Let's get this one going first, and then I'll go right back in, okay? Now, Ashimbayev's absurd timeline discrepancy, quote, because this is the entire crux of the article, depends on the timeline. They say if the timeline doesn't hold, then everything else is basically falling apart. And that's the basics of the rebuttal by Snopes, which is prompting this, and the fact that to this reporter, as they have seen the evidence, the timeline is still holding, and they're explaining why. Okay. So I go back to here after timeline discrepancy in quotes. Okay. Pointing to Messiah's move from the KGB to the MVD in 1986 was nothing more than a cheap sleight of hand. Trump's 1987 Moscow visit, the very trip Messiah cited, has been widely documented. The actual timeline fits. But instead of exploring that, you made Ashimbayev muddy the waters with his bureaucratic trivia, twisting Messiah's career shift into a supposed gotcha moment. Again, this is a really good wordsmith. I have really got to admit, I commend thee for the words here. It's as if these guys are really whooping me because they're magic mobs, aren't they? Now, it's as if you caught someone claiming they were in a car accident on I-95 and, quote, debunked, quote, it by pointing out they also drove on Route 1 earlier that day. It's nonsense, and you swallowed it whole. Worse still, you ignored ample evidence that could have complicated your narrative, namely the long history of Soviet attempts to court Trump. As Luke Harding, Yuri Shvets, and others have shown, sorry, I lost my place. That's all it was. The KGB had its eyes on Trump in the 1980s, and Soviet intelligence absolutely had a history of courting influential Western businessmen. See, again, I lost my spot. Musayev's claim isn't just plausible, it fits a known pattern. But instead of grappling with that, you treated Musayev like a lunatic conspiracy theorist while cozying up to a Kremlin apologist because his version was easier to sell. And here's where your failure metastasized. See, again, wonderful words, big words. Your lazy reporting became the foundation for France 24's equally lazy truth or fake segment. Catalina Marchand d'Abreu dragged a giant red X across Musayev's post, like she was stamping out a roach, smugly dismissing a serious allegation without an ounce of critical thought. She parroted your flawed conclusions, waved around Ashimbayev's, quote, timeline discrepancy, quote, hang on, I'm trying to get this guy here. There you go. And worst of all, dragged Mark, the one voice of reason in the segment, down with her. Mark had the good sense to point out that Trump's alignment with Putin's foreign policy, and the broader concerns about Russian influence, but Catalina breezed past those points like she was fast-forwarding through commercials. I call it sucking on his redacted. Nom 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 nom, it's so good. But the real damage, you think he uses it. Oops. There we go. But the real damage came when your reporting wormed its way into Professor Darren Gerdes' commentary. Gerdes, a figure who normally champions critical thinking, ended up regurgitating your mess like a student cramming the wrong answers before an exam. His video, intended as a calming dose of reason, leaned heavily on your flawed Snopes piece and the deleted Daily Beast article to dismiss Musayev's claims. Gerdes, who should have been skeptical of Snopes' overconfidence, instead treated your botched fact check as a definitive conclusion. The irony is staggering. Gerdes lectured his viewers about the dangers of misinformation while blindly trusting your own half-baked conclusions. There we go. He scoffed at Musayev's background, ignoring the reality that defectors like Musayev have historically been among the most valuable sources of intelligence, and sometimes the only ones willing to tell uncomfortable truths. And plus, as an aside, the guy actually posted it. So, I mean, to see, in all seriousness, it's like one of two things. I mean, it only means one of two things. Either this is real, or he's reposting it as a troll. Which way does it go? I have no idea. You're gonna have to ask Musayev himself. I don't know. Instead of recognizing that nuance, Gerdes leaned on your shoddy reporting to dismiss Musayev outright. His smug reminders to, quote, stop and hear yourself, quote, felt less like genuine caution and more like an academic version of Catalina's Red X. Smug, condescending, and designed to shut down curiosity rather than encourage critical thinking. There we go. By the time Gerdes finished his lecture, it was clear your reporting hadn't just misled the public, it had convinced people like Gerdes who should have known better to stop asking questions. See, it's a physical mob. I can handle it so much better. And that's the most unfortunate part of this whole debacle. Musayev's claim may or may not be true, but thanks to your reckless reporting, too many journalists, academics, and commentators have decided the case is closed. And here's where it differs here. They even admit it may or may not be true, but it is being stated because, the guy reposted it. Again, it's one of two reasons. Either A, it is a case of him absolutely trolling everybody, or B, it's really true. Oh, dang it. Run. I don't want you. I don't want you. There's only a little bit left in this article for me to read for you, and then we're going to call it a night, okay? I'm just going to grind a few more mobs here, but I can always come back up anytime I want now because I have the flight path. Hee. You didn't just fail at your job, you made sure people stopped doing theirs too. Again, it's something to think about. And it's like I said, if the guy reposted it, it means one of two things. And I keep harping on this, and I'm harping on it for a reason. Because either answer is not a good answer. Either A, oh boy, where are you? Sorry, I felt the ground rumble. So either it's all true, and he really is a Russian asset. It's a tough pill to swallow, no matter how you look at it. Or, and this is and this is a fairly awful move too. It's just the guy trolling us. And no matter what, it's a horrible deal now, isn't it? Just a little something to think about as this highborn apparition goes down. And for today's news in Warcraft, this is Turkeytentia, and I wish you a great day and great gaming. I'm being lazy because I'm not in Warcraft. I'm in OBS Studio right now, closing things out. Bye, everybody. I need to get back.